diner door chimed as Daniel Kane stepped inside, shaking the cold off his expensive cashmere coat. The winter wind had been brutal that afternoon. But it wasn't the chill that made his breath catch in his throat. It was her. There, behind the counter, wearing a faded blue apron and balancing 2 plates in her hands, stood Amara. Her hair was pulled back into a messy bun, a few loose curls framing her face. The same face he had memorized years ago, back when she was his everything. But this time, there was something different. Her belly, round, unmistakable, pressed against the apron. She was pregnant. Daniel froze mid-step. His heart pounded so loudly. He was sure the whole diner could hear it. He hadn't seen her in 5 years, not since the divorce, not since the shouting and the slamming of doors. He had left, no, run, chasing the world of boardrooms and million-dollar deals. And now, here she was, serving tables in a small-town diner. Her eyes lifted and locked onto his. For a split second, the world stopped. No clinking of cutlery, no hum of conversation. Just 2 people, drowning in a flood of memories neither had asked for. "Daniel," she breathed, barely audible. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to move toward an empty booth. He had planned to stop for coffee before his next meeting, nothing more. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Amara hesitated before walking over, holding a notepad, her hands trembling slightly. "What can I get you?" she asked, her tone polite but cold. The kind of cold that comes from deep wounds. He almost didn't recognize her voice. Almost. "Coffee," he said, his own voice low. "Black." As she poured the steaming liquid into his cup, he noticed the faint shimmer in her eyes, like she was holding back tears. He wanted to ask about the baby, about her life, about everything he had missed. But the words stuck in his throat. Daniel wrapped his hands around the mug, letting the heat seep into his skin. But it did nothing to warm the cold ache in his chest. "You look different," he finally said, watching her carefully. Amara gave a faint, humorless laugh. "It's been 5 years, Daniel. People change." He nodded, though the words stung. She had changed. Her face was more mature, her smile quieter, her eyes a little dimmer. And that belly, he couldn't stop his gaze from drifting to it. "Congratulations," he said, his voice soft. Her hands stilled on the coffee pot. "Don't," his brow furrowed. "Don't what?" "Don't pretend like you care," she said, setting the pot down on the counter with a soft thud. "You left. And you stayed gone." The truth of it sliced through him. He had left, convinced that success would fill the hole in his heart. But boardrooms had been cold, and penthouse views had been lonely. "I know I don't deserve to ask," he began. "But, is it?" "No." The word was sharp, final. "It's not yours." He nodded slowly, swallowing the sudden lump in his throat. That should have been a relief. It wasn't. Instead, it deepened the ache. Because it meant she had moved on, built a life without him. A customer at the far table called her name, and she turned away, leaving him staring into the dark swirl of his coffee. But Daniel wasn't ready to walk out. Not yet. The lunch rush came and went, and still he sat there, ordering nothing else. When the last customer left, Amara returned to wipe down the booth across from him. "Why are you still here?" she asked, not looking up. "I don't know," he admitted. "Maybe. Because I never got to say I'm sorry." "I don't know," he admitted. "Maybe. Because I never got to say I'm sorry." She froze, cloth in hand. Then looked at him for the first time without that protective wall in her eyes. "Sorry for what, Daniel?" "For walking away when I needed you most. For choosing your career over your marriage. Or for not even calling when you knew my mother was dying." His chest tightened. "All of it." For a moment, her lips trembled like she might cry, but she turned back to her cleaning. Apologies don't change the past. I know, he said, but maybe they can change the future. The diner grew quiet again, the hum of the old refrigerator filling the space between them. Daniel leaned forward, his voice low but steady. Amara, I know I can't erase what I did. I can't give you back those years, but I can tell you that walking away from you was the single biggest mistake of my life. She laughed, but it wasn't bitter this time, it was tired. You had your chance, Daniel, and you chose the world over me. I chose fear, he admitted, surprising even himself. I was terrified of failing you. I thought if I became successful, I could come back and give you everything you deserved. But by the time I realized money meant nothing without you, it was too late. Her eyes softened, just a fraction. And now? Why are you here? Because I heard a rumor that there was this little diner off Route 9 with the best coffee in the state. He gave a half smile. And maybe, because I was hoping to find a piece of my old life. She hesitated, then slid into the booth across from him. The baby's not yours, she said again, but her voice was gentler now. His name was Caleb. He passed away 6 months ago. Heart attack. He never even knew we were expecting. Daniel's breath caught. Amara, she waved a hand. Don't. I've been managing alone. It's not easy, but... She glanced down at her belly with a faint smile. This little one's my reason to keep going. Something in him shifted then, a deep, almost painful longing to be part of her life again. Not because of guilt, not because of the past, but because he still loved her. Weeks passed. Daniel started showing up at the diner more often. At first, Amara kept her guard up, serving him like any other customer. But slowly, things changed. He'd help her carry heavy boxes, fix the leaky sink, even sweep the floors when she was too tired to bend. They talked, really talked, about her cravings for strawberry milkshakes, about his decision to step back from his company, about the nights they used to dance barefoot in their tiny kitchen. One evening, as the snow fell outside, he stayed late to help her close up. She struggled with the chair racks, wincing as her back twinged. Without a word, he took over, stacking them with ease. You don't have to keep helping me, she said, leaning against the counter. I know, he replied. But I want to. Silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken words. Then he stepped closer. Amara, I don't expect you to forgive me overnight. I don't expect you to trust me right away. But I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere this time. Her eyes glistened. And if I say, I can't risk getting hurt again. He reached out, gently taking her hand. Then I'll spend the rest of my life proving that you won't. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. But she didn't let go of his hand. And in that quiet diner, under the hum of the old lights, two people who had once lost everything found the first fragile thread of something new. Not a perfect ending. Not yet. But a second chance.